Okay, welcome back to the Adventure Within channel. My name is Andrew Fritz. I'm a clairvoyant, healer, and meditation teacher. And today we have an interview with Colby Wilk. He's an intuitive wayfinder that helps highly sensitive people and empaths stop feeling like something's wrong with them and to start living from their sensitivity as a strength. With sharp intuition, deep energy work, and a no BS approach, Colby guides people back to themselves. Overwhelmed, overstimulated, carrying what's not yours? He helps you clear what's in the way so you can live from your own energy, grounded, empowered, and fully alive. A former counselor and coach, Colby discovered that real healing happens beyond the mind, at the level of energy, soul, and truth. That's where lasting change begins. On podcasts, Colby brings warmth, clarity, and compassion. He speaks directly to the experience of sensitive people who've been told, they're too much or too emotional. Listeners walk away feeling seen, supported, and ready to live bigger. What Colby offers isn't a miracle, though it can certainly feel like one. Hi, Colby. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
It's good to see you. Pleasure to have you here. And I'm really excited to dive into numerous topics here. But one that I always like to kind of kick off with is how did you get into spirituality? What was your awakening like? I believe you may have started off with a Kundalini awakening. If that's accurate, could you go into that?
Let's see. How do I begin this story? So let's see. You know me because I work as a wayfinder,
Correct.
helping people to find their way to who they really are. And I do that through my intuitive gift of helping people spot what they're stepping over that they're unaware of.
Correct.
And I developed this gift probably early on. I'm a natural empath. I'm able to feel what you feel, able to sense what you're thinking and what you expect, probably because I came from a dysfunctional
Hmm.
child home.
Mm-hmm.
And so the easiest thing to do was to anticipate what someone needed so I could become that.
Ah. Hmm.
And then from that background, I sat at the feet of many gurus and shaman and developed what I do now.
Hmm. Very cool. So it sounds like was that like ways to, like just discovering ways that you can survive? Like it's appeasing others, maybe? Is that kind of what you're referring to? Of just like, here's how I survive in this environment.
Right. So, like a lot of people, include because you're a highly developed empath, I can feel that from you.
Hmm.
Either you come in with it, or what's supposed to happen is the infant looks up and sees their smiling parents. And I believe what happened to me is I got some smiles, but my parents became distracted
Hmm.
because they had other things to do. And so I figured out if I smiled and tried to, got cute, they would pay more attention to me.
Mm-hmm.
So began this ability to change my locus of control to outside of myself.
Ah.
And so that began the ability to empathize.
Hmm.
Empathy is I'm able to tune into you.
Mm-hmm.
Compassion is I'm able to tune into my source, God.
Hmm.
So people who are empathic are able to tune in other people and other people who like that because they don't have to explain themselves.
Right.
And at some point, it also gets annoying, right? Because I've heard my whole life, Colby, you know more about me than I know. And
Hmm.
I find that uncomfortable.
Hmm.
So empathy is a gift and it's a curse. Both things are true.
Mm-hmm.
You're able to sense and feel, but you're also constantly at the effect of other people's energy because you're more porous. And so you carry other people's stuff with you.
Right. So do you lean more towards the compassion then? That's obviously like being an empath, being sensitive to the world around you and people, but also deciding, oh, maybe I need to turn even more inwards to that compassion. Is that something that you focus on or help other people move towards more?
Well, I work with a lot of highly sensitive people like yourself.
Hmm.
And usually, if you're highly sensitive, there's a degree of overwhelm that you experience. Too noisy, too bright, too much pollen, too many people, right? Your nervous system is jacked.
Mm-hmm.
Empathy is really handy, but it's not going to get you where you want to go. If you want to develop yourself spiritually, you have to first honor yourself as a human being. Empaths tend to put other people's well-being in front of their own.
Mm,
I care more about you than I do me.
right.
In fact, I can only have what I want if you have what you want.
Mm,
That's what empaths generally learn. I'm only okay if you're okay.
right.
Because that's from childhood. That was the truth back
Sh-
then.
Sure.
And so, as an empath or a sensitive person, we want to bring ourselves, to our own bodies.
Right.
Now, the rest of the world, the muggles, the non-sensitives, the
Hmm.
non-empaths, tend to be highly self-focused. And the messaging from our culture around being kind and considerate and caring for other people, those messages are for them. That's not for people like us.
Hmm.
We're already kind. We are already compassionate, too much so.
Hmm.
We need to be self-focused.
Got it.
That's what we need to be work so that we can honor ourselves.
Right. Um, and then can you kind of to take it kind of a little back, kind of going backwards? I know for me, waking up is exciting and then sometimes overwhelming. Um, what was that like for you? Kind of going back to when you like started waking up, what was that experience like for you?
So when you say waking up, tell me what you mean by that.
Waking more up to the truth, your gifts, different psychic abilities,
Mm,
whether it's the feeling or just different levels of intuition or consciousness, that can be really exciting, but sometimes like, whoa, I'm starting to, whether you feel something or, oh, I'm hearing something or seeing or just having a knowing, that can be kind of very intense. And then sometimes for me, like people around me, hey, are you going crazy? Or like, are you going to join a cult and kill yourself off? You know what I mean? So that's something that I had to go through. I'm just wondering what was your experience with that?
I go on YouTube and I will find somebody offering an accelerated practice to open their third eye, activate their Kundalini.
Hmm.
And this is highly dangerous stuff.
Mm,
So there are people out there who are in their 20s and 30s, maybe even 40s, who are pursuing spirituality because maybe they want something.
hmm.
And the people who do the law of attraction and all that stuff, great stuff, but have also, that's not what spirituality is for. It's not to get goodies. That's spiritual materialism, which is fine. Just call it what it is.
Hmm.
Spirituality is shedding yourself, shedding your false self, coming out, coming out, coming out, and coming out again.
Right.
So I initially pursued spirituality because I was really sensitive and it was something I was really good at.
Mm,
I could get information, I could see things, I could talk to dead people,
hmm.
whatever. I was good at it, and the ego likes to do things that it's good at.
Hmm.
So there are two reasons to pursue spirituality, and only two. Well, that's not true, actually, as I say that. Most people pursue spirituality to get out of pain.
Mm,
And what they find is love is the only thing that will get them out of pain.
mm,
So they pursue spirituality, get out of pain, and then they have to pursue love.
hmm.
Yep. There are two motivations for the most part when it comes to spirituality: influence and peace. People who want influence, they want power, they want status. And those are the folks who want goodies.
Mm,
But if you're pursuing spirituality for power or influence, the bottom is going to come out from under you
mm.
because that's not what spirituality is for.
Right.
The other reason to pursue spirituality is peace, to know greater peace. Now, peace leads to power, for sure, and power leads to influence, but the root of it is peace.
Mm,
Most people that I come in contact with are not pursuing spirituality for peace.
mm,
They're pursuing it for influence. And that might look like, hey, Colby, help me with getting a lover, help me with greater wealth, help
uh,
me. You get the idea, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So there's when people come to me, I have to kind of educate them and transfer them because really it's not about outer freedom, which is what spiritual materialism would talk about,
Hmm.
more money, more love, better body. It's about inner freedom.
Hmm.
It's about being beyond circumstance.
Right. That's funny because you talk about people wanting to heal or get out of pain, and kind of having to kind of navigate towards more affinity and love and oneness. And for me, I found that sure, that's I want to heal myself, but I find that the deeper I personally go, I find more of the things that I've buried and suppressed, that I actually don't want to really face, but I want to face at the same time. So I run into all that more, that pain and that heavier energy. Has that been your experience? Like, even though you're going down a road of getting closer to yourself and your truth and your authentic energy, you're still uncovering layers and layers of buried pain, whether it's from this life or other lifetimes.
There are three things that I do, only three. One, I dig to the bottom of a wound,
Hmm.
which is what you're describing. Two, I help people reshape their energetic field so they enter into higher states of being, which we could do some
Mm.
on. And three, I help them to realize where their ego is messing them up.
Mm.
Most people are working on wound stuff, okay?
Hmm.
Like getting to the bottom, uncovering stuff. And people make a good amount of living, a good living with sessions and books and whatever the case may be. But haven't we done enough of that?
Mm.
I mean, really, if that was the answer, come on, right? It's just feeding a whole lot of people's pocketbooks
Mm.
because had countless past lives.
Hmm.
You got a lot of wounds in there. Good luck cleaning all that up.
Right.
I find so many people indulging from one trauma to the next instead of being present with what is, moment by moment by moment.
Mm.
It's like almost like people want a magic pill that if I uncover enough trauma, then finally I'll be awakened. It doesn't work like that. I know we want it to work like that because there are those of us who like to perceive reality as linear. It's
Mm.
not,
Right.
not linear. You, I, and everyone on this podcast, I'm sorry to report, will circle around the same issues their whole life. You don't check off an issue. Okay, done. No, no. What happens is you circle around your issues your whole life and hopefully from a higher perspective. So what would have taken you out for 2 weeks
Hmm.
now takes you out for 10 minutes.
Mm.
And next year, 8 minutes.
Right.
Right. But you're circling around the same issues your whole life. One of my teachers would say it takes 42 lifetimes to really change yourself. One thing about yourself.
Oh my.
Which is really like, okay, you okay, great. Let me have some patience with myself.
Right.
Self-development, which is I think what you're coming from here, this part,
Hmm.
is based on I hate myself.
Mm.
That's where self-development comes from. I don't like this about myself, therefore I want to change it. You can't get anywhere from hating yourself. That's why self-development doesn't work. That's why people start diets and go back to whatever, workouts and go back to not working out
Hmm.
because they're doing it from a place of self-hatred.
Right.
Real healing comes from self-acceptance.
Mm. Do you feel that self-acceptance process though there is shedding like of who we thought we were, whether it's these images we have of oh, this is who I am, and then suddenly that starts to peel away, and then there's just layers to that. Do you feel that's something that we go through to get closer to what's always been there?
The test of a spiritual, in my opinion, the test of somebody who's spiritual is how many cells have you shed? So, for instance, as a gay man, I came out
Hmm.
to relinquish who I thought I was, who other people thought I was,
Sure.
and and a level of freedom opened for me inside.
Hmm.
Okay, great. Now I got to keep doing that. Oh, I thought I was this, whatever. Oh, I'm not. Let me come out again. That's spirituality, the relinquishment of self.
Mm.
Relinquish. And that could be a painful process
Right.
or not so painful. Depends how attached you are. Now,
Mm.
our culture is based on you holding on to you, me, whoever,
Yeah.
holding on to one version of the self and building an empire around it.
Mm.
That's how our culture is established, right? As opposed to, well, I was a doctor, now I'm a lawyer. Oh, I was a lawyer, now I'm a grocery clerk,
Ah. Hmm.
right? And I'm happy being a grocery clerk. Okay, right? Or the Hollywood celebrity who now works at Trader Joe's. Why do we make that bad? That's what's happening. That's cool,
Right.
right? Doesn't mean anything. So, real spirituality is not easy. It's not full of joy. Deeply satisfying. Deeply satisfying. But it's not that.
Mm.
I want to give you the impression that it is so they can sell their books or whatever. It's not that.
Right.
Anyone who's over 40, 50, who's been in this industry for long enough knows that.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I don't find this easy at all. And
Hmm.
then just like
You
it's
don't find it easy to do what?
oh, just walking a spiritual path. It's very easy to just kind of be asleep at the wheel. I mean, that's could be challenging too, but I find waking up and having to walk in the direction of your truth, that dying and rebirth, especially if there's strong attachment, that that
Mm.
that death and rebirth, I feel can be really challenging. But like you said, if there's not much attachment, just kind of transitioning seamless from, this role to that role, as opposed to, I guess one of the questions I was going to ask, you think if someone has a midlife crisis or quarter life crisis or whatever it might be, do you feel like they have so much attachment to an image of who they think they are, or role, or things, or
If you do your life at any, okay, here we are. We're creating our lives. You create like a living, you buy a home, you
Sure.
have a partner, and you then do some sort of ceremony. See a shaman or someone like me and
Hmm.
set an intention for true connection or to evolve or whatever the case may be. My friend, your life will fall apart because anything that's out of concert with that intention will be challenged
Mm.
and you will be challenged to let it go.
Right.
I just, heard. I want to share a story, but I'm trying to preserve confidentiality.
Mm.
You know, they a client years ago owned a company, was a CEO, made a lot of money,
Hmm.
was really unhappy with it, and set the intention like, look, I really want to discover my art.
Mm.
And his company went bankrupt pretty quickly,
Oh, wow.
pretty quickly. And he was left work at the supermarket as a cashier.
Mm.
Colby, why is this happening? You set a ball in motion.
Right.
Right? If you have a spiritual life, there are beings listening. It's much easier if you just want to go along and live your life. You want an easy life? Don't be spiritual. Don't do it.
Right.
Don't do it. But those of us who are called, like yourself, are called. We can't do anything about it. We're just called. Okay, okay, destroy that which is not me.
Right.
So I can know me. And then we
Mm.
wonder, why is my life falling apart?
Yeah.
Years ago, I had a Kundalini awakening, my like fifth or sixth,
Mm.
and I pushed it, which I shouldn't have done with other practices.
Hmm.
Kundalini's energy at the base of the spine that comes up and associated with illumination.
Mm.
And the universe came pouring in, and I couldn't leave the house for 3 years.
Oh, wow.
I had to stop working, everything. Everything stopped. Friends, were terrified because if it could happen to me, if I could basically almost lose it, like I kept myself out of the hospital with the
Mm,
help of my friends, right? They got scared. A lot of people like couldn't, I don't want to see him.
right.
And what I had been praying for was my evolution. And in order to evolve, that had to happen.
Mm.
That had to happen. I was arrogant before. I'm much more humble, right?
Do you feel
I
that was a blessing in disguise? Just
blessing, curse,
both.
still have to,
Yeah.
but it has to happen in order for me, in order for, I guess it's a blessing, in order for me to recognize who I'm not,
Mm,
who I'm not. We're all so pumped up with ego. Of course we are, right? Ego being defined as that which makes us feel special or different.
mm,
That's
mm.
right.
Yeah.
Right. So here I am, this highfalutin psychic, like getting calls every day from celebrities, blah, 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 blah.
Mm,
And all of a sudden I can't do anything. I can't go out. I'm just like stuck in the house for 3 years. I didn't leave the house.
mm.
I wanted to drive out to the country where it'd be quieter, but I couldn't get out.
Ah,
So, and all that time alone causes you to like really know yourself. So if you're spiritual and if your life is falling apart, good job. You're on track. You are on track. If you are somebody whose life is continually to build seamlessly, you could say to me, well, the laws of attraction, yes, but you're not really doing the deeper work. You're not. You can't. Sorry.
yeah. That's like kind of where personally I'm at. I'm having something just completely fall apart, and it's deeply uncomfortable, but it's exactly what I want so I can get to something that's more authentic for myself. Um, whether from your personal experiences or just you guiding other people through those experiences, I mean, what would you say that's helpful to navigate that transition where they're moving away from something that's not really their truth and moving towards something that's more true to them or authentic to them? It's not a
So,
it's a messy process, I find.
yeah, yeah. No one is here to do anything. You're not here to build a building or paint a picture or make a garden. You're here to have the experience of being you.
Hmm,
You're here to become you. But Colby, who's that? I don't know. Let's see. Who are you? Who are you really? Wow, who am I really? What is this that I am?
hmm,
We're really curious what God is, the divine, whatever you want to call that. But not that many people are that interested in what this is themselves. What is this?
hmm,
What is this that I am? And in order for that to happen, what's not you needs to fall away. Now,
hmm,
the soul, which I will refer to as the larger aspect of you that is both inside and outside the body, is trying to get you what you said you wanted. It's not puppeting you. It's not in charge of you. It is trying to get you what you wanted. Not a bonbon, not a slice of pizza,
hmm,
right? Not a hot date, but what you really want. The experience you really want. And it is trying as best as it can to streamline that path. Now, it may not seem streamlined to us, right?
right.
But it is so if you intended something and your life is falling apart, you got to own that you created this.
Hmm,
I've known so many people married who prayed for deeper connection and then met somebody else.
hmm,
And then their life was challenged. Do I leave my partner? I have kids, I have a house. What do I do? Well, you wanted deeper connection.
hmm,
That's what you said you wanted. Are you willing to let go of the security and your attachment
hmm,
to have that which you said you wanted or not?
right. Be careful what you wish for, almost.
Or do you really want it?
Right.
What do you want? All of our lives are about something. You're going to give your life for something, right? You're going to be eaten by something, right? That's just true. But you get to decide what that is you get eaten by.
Hmm,
Is it self-expression? Is it beauty? Is it glory? Is it wonder? What is it that you want your life to be about? Here lies Colby. He was about X. What do you want on that tombstone?
Mm,
Assuming you're going to be buried. Like, what do you want? And then your soul takes that as a direction and starts orchestrating things for you.
mm,
And then it sees what you're willing to do. Are you real? We could all get where we want, but everything comes at a price. Everything does.
right. I like that. I want to kind of segue into um, grounding because I think, if people are going through this process or dealing with anything kind of challenging, whether it's personal or just something that's happening in in the world, the turbulence in the world, how do you stay? Well, first, what is grounding? How would you define that? And then, um, how do people stay grounded during these
Sure.
experiences?
Well, if you're a high sensitive, you're not going to ground the way other people ground.
Mm.
So this is why years ago when they teach you, okay, send your roots down through your feet and through your sacrum,
Uh-huh.
I'd be sitting there, I don't feel nothing. And I feel everything, right?
Right, right.
I don't feel nothing. I shouldn't say I feel everything. I feel a lot.
Yeah.
So if you're sensitive, one sensitive means you don't have a great relationship with space.
Mm,
That's what sensitive means. And that is why sounds seem oppressive,
mm,
scents seem oppressive, emotions are oppressive, because you don't, as a sensitive, you don't understand how space works. You just don't acknowledge space.
mm,
You go into other people's space to sense what they feel, right?
mm,
So you don't understand space. So as a sensitive, the way you ground is through space. Yeah. So during periods where you're like, holy moly, my life is falling apart, or holy moly, the political scene, holy moly,
yeah.
okay, I'm not going to do any good by being in my head because all that's in there is my paranoia, right? Let me be a daffodil.
You said a lot of people spend more their attention towards the front of the brain, and you said above the head.
Yeah.
Can you talk about like why that might be, or what are those
Well,
areas
so
representing?
sure. So the front of our brain is where we think from. And we in this country are taught that the smarter we are, the more successful we'll be.
Mm,
Our education system is very head oriented, not very body oriented.
mm.
And so we tend to front load. And now it's getting ridiculous. People are constantly looking at their phones.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Our posture is taking on this kind of heavy cerebellum thing, right? But our brain doesn't necessarily think it's just a tuner. We're tuning to things, right?
Hmm.
So when you bring your attention into your head, you're tuning to a station. And if you're not intentional, that station could be, I hate myself,
Mm,
right? Or I hate everyone, right?
right.
We want to stay out of here. One, this is overused, and the results of it being overused is greater anxiety, paranoia, sleep issues, digestive issues, rashes. Our nervous system gets overwhelmed. We want to bring our attention into our middle
Mm.
more and more. Now, there are times as a psychic where I have people put attention other places for other reasons,
Ah, mhm.
but I always begin down here in your
Mm,
stomach. When we keep our attention above our head, which is what psychics generally do, because it's far easier to read people out of our crown.
mm,
You don't want to keep it there because this is very open. And so now I'm up here and I'm exposed to all sorts of astral forces,
mm,
ghosts, dead people, aliens, right?
mhm.
Your girlfriend's mother-in-law, and then you
Yeah.
don't know what's yours and what somebody else's, and you're overwhelmed, you're not sleeping. Bring my attention down.
Mm,
You know, most spiritual traditions only open up the crown in the very later stages of
mm,
life. But like I said to you before, there are people on YouTube teaching people advanced practices to get clicks and hurting people.
mm.
You may
Do
not
you,
realize it, but you're getting hurt.
Yeah, because I've seen people where I know like your Kundalini experience was really intense. I know other
Really.
people, I've seen people's YouTube videos where they've had Kundalini awakenings and they weren't quite ready for it, or whatever the case might be. Do you feel there's uh, a safe way to turn that on, or turn it off, or is it just kind of?
There's more than enough people with $97 or whatever it is saying they can activate your Kundalini,
Hmm.
which may or may not be true. Whole different thing managing it.
Right.
And you once it's active, you can't put it back in the box. And no one knows whether you're ready or not.
Mm.
No one knows. Now, my last Kundalini, I was fine, but I pushed it. That's what caused me to come undone.
Oh, I
So I've
see.
had like more than I've had Kundalini since I was 18, right?
Yeah.
So it's just that I didn't but once if your Kundalini is active, and you'll know it pretty dramatically because you'll start to rock, you'll have a lot of heat. A lot of people do kriyas, like yoga postures,
Yeah.
right? They shake, right? And if it gets the asylums are full of people with Kundalini problems,
Mm.
full of it. Um, so if your Kundalini is active and it's really uncomfortable, you want to get to somebody who knows how to work with Kundalini.
Right.
Because Kundalini likes other Kundalini. So when I work with somebody with a Kundalini that's out of control, I will match them. I'll show them how to rise it and how to lower it.
Oh,
Rise it and lower it so that you befriend it because you really can't control it because it's a force in and of itself.
sure.
Now, Kundalini, people who go to activate it, please don't do that. It's not a good idea. If Kundalini comes, it's organic. Great. If it happens, it happens. Do not get one, you cannot become enlightened by chasing enlightenment.
Mm.
You can't. Because that part of you that is chasing enlightenment cannot be enlightened
Mm.
because it's not present. It's not accepting. It's making a problem where there is no problem,
Hmm.
right? I saw a Facebook ad just the other day about activate your Kundalini. I feel so good. My life is so great now. Now
Mm.
that I Kundalini, just marketing. It's just commercialism.
Right.
It is, right? Please stop. Stop. That's not spirituality. That's something else.
Hmm.
There's a special place in hell, in my opinion, for these people.
Got it.
So if your Kundalini's active, find somebody who's willing to work with you.
Right.
It's not the end of the world. It doesn't have to take you out
Right.
or, be such an inconvenience the way it was for me.
Mm.
Right? And given what happened to me, I know now how to work with it. So
Right.
that's my suffering is your benefit, right? Like it comes at your benefit.
Got it. Is that the you think also the blessing and curse with getting into spirituality, like being a guide or a teacher, where you have to go through a lot of change and transformation that's can be difficult and challenging. That when people you can get to a point where you can see other people. Oh, I see. I've went through the same thing years ago. You have that wisdom to kind of guide them through that
Right.
process. Is that?
And what I want to tell your listeners is if you meet somebody who's like, I was this and now I'm this, and life is great, and I've got no problems, and here's my boat and my limo, here's my private jet. Shit, it's bullshit.
Mm.
Stop. Stop. I know a lot of people, given what I do, people are still challenged. It's still if you're not on planet Earth without a challenge
Mm-hmm.
of some sort. I apologize.
No worries.
All right. So, okay. Yes, I can help you. I know you because I know me. That's the only
Right.
reason I know you. And
Right.
spending so much time, 3 years in a house by myself, I had a lot of time to get to know me.
Sure. Yeah. Um, One thing I want to talk about is doubt. Sometimes that can seem very loud compared to the voice of the higher self, that higher part of ourselves.
Give
Do
me
you
an
have,
example of your doubt.
um, for example, for me personally, and I'm sure other people, where trying to transition away from something, say a career and getting into a different career, there can be a lot of doubt that comes into play.
Will
And
I make it? Should I head back to security?
it,
Right?
sure,
Can I
yeah.
make this channel work?
Yes,
Can I be
exactly.
poor? Or am I going to
Exactly.
show up my high school reunion with my hand in my head? Sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Doubt,
Yeah.
doubt is the food of the ego. That's what
Mm,
doubt is.
mm,
I'll say that again. Doubt is the food of the ego.
mm.
So if you have a real inclination to make this your living, being a podcaster, a seeker, you follow it. And you know what? It may not work out the way you think it's going to work out or the way you hope it's going to work out. But doubt gets in the way of actually pursuing that which we don't know. You may fail at this and it may open something else up.
Mhm.
It's interesting, like, how do you measure your success? Is your
Right.
success based on dollars, notoriety, fame, what self-expression? Like, what is success?
Mm. Yeah, I know for me, success is not the traditional way people would view success, with the house and the car and this amount of money. I mean, sure, those things are nice to have to survive in this world, but it'd just be more of, can I truly be myself? Can I live an authentic life? That's what I'm really interested in about. So,
That's really up to you, right? I mean, you
sure.
could live authentic and not have be a podcaster,
True. True.
right? You could wash dishes at a diner. Really depends on you. So this is where we come upon the myth. The more spiritual I am, the more successful I am.
Mm,
And that myth has been in place since basically the 80s,
mm,
70s, right? And so what makes you successful may not be what makes you spiritual.
right.
And people have convinced us that those two things are aligned because they want to sell you whatever.
Mm,
Inner freedom, yes, has a role on outer freedom, but it's not the same thing.
mm,
It's not the same thing. So we get to decide what we want, what journey we want. And usually, what I request that my clients do is, what God aspect do you want to embody?
mm,
Because God, I don't believe the divine cares about pretty much anything else, right? So, okay, God is love, God is unlimited, God is glory, God is wonder, God is
mm,
knowledge. What do you want to embody? What's the big umbrella?
mm,
What's the big umbrella? And then you could say, okay, I want to embody love. And what that looks like for me is this X, Y, and Z.
mm.
And do a ritual around that. And off we go to the races and we see what happens.
Right.
But love is the primary thing that gives your life definition and direction. So, in any point of time, you could ask yourself, okay, what do I do here? What would love do?
Mm,
Or what would beauty do? Or what would glory do? Or whatever the case may be. It gives you direction as opposed to succumbing to fear and doubt.
right. Nice. I like that. The doubt is you said it was the food of the ego.
Doubt is the food of the ego.
I like that. Um, One last thing I want to touch on, I know we're getting kind of closer at the end, is people talk about raising your vibration. A lot of people have different opinions and thoughts about that. Just curious to see kind of what your take is, or what does it mean to raise your vibration, and what does that do for you?
You can raise your vibration.
Hmm.
You cannot raise your vibration. You can clarify your vibration. So consider that we're all ice cream. You're ice cream, I'm ice cream, everyone's ice cream. I am rainbow sherbet.
Mm,
You are mint chocolate chip, let's just say. Okay. If you're mint chocolate chip, my friend, you want to be the mintiest, the chocolatiest mint chocolate chip there ever was. I want to be the rainbowest sherbet there ever was. Okay.
mm,
Well, that means if I'm rainbow sherbet, I don't want any nuts, sprinkles, caramel, any of your mint chocolate chip in me. I just want to be rainbow sherbet. I want to clarify my vibration by
mm,
being more and more of me.
mm,
When people say they want to raise their vibration, that comes out of the same school as self-development, meaning I'm here and I want to be here because there's something wrong with me.
Mm,
I don't accept myself as I am. I'm here and I want to be here. You can't get from here to here. You can't get there that way.
mm,
However, I can clarify my vibration by allowing myself to become more rainbow sherbet, for you to become more mint chocolate chip, by removing that which is not you.
right.
Your mother's energy, your father's energy, your false expectations, who you thought you need to be successful and respected, so that you walk with your head held high at your high school reunion,
Right.
right? You can clarify your vibration by separating yourself
Mm,
from others. I'll give
yeah.
you a practice. Is that okay?
Sure. Yeah.
You have an energetic field, a jelly bean of energy around you,
Hmm.
above you, below you, in front of you, and behind you. This jelly bean of energy has sensors on the outside. Those sensors for empaths and HSPs, highly sensitive people, are turned out so you can sense other people's feelings, emotions, expectations, and figure out who you are in relationship to them. How do you get what you want?
Hmm.
So we're going to turn those sensors in towards you. Can we do that now?
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
All right. So bring your attention into your still point, three
Okay.
fingers below your belly button and in the middle of you. And then you say still point, still point.
Still point.
So notice you're getting there quicker than you did last time because it's developing a practice. These are things I teach my clients, things you could do moment by moment. There you go. Beautiful. How's that?
Good.
Okay, great. Extend your hands out in front of you, palms facing me as if you're pushing away a wall.
Mm.
Great. And now you're going to say, I ask
I ask
for my sensors to turn in,
for my sensors to turn in.
and move your palms facing your face. There you go. I ask for my, okay, now let's do it again. Palms facing away from you.
Okay.
I ask for my sensors to turn in,
I ask for my sensors to turn in.
and flip your hands towards yourself. There you go. Now it's happening.
Awesome.
And now if you're listening, you can do the same thing, just what we just did. And your sensors are now coming in. There you go. It's taking a little bit. And now you're owning your own space.
Hmm.
How does that feel, Andrew?
Like I'm in my own world, I guess.
Right. This is you clearing your vibration, clarifying it because you're owning your space.
Hmm.
You can clear your vibration, you can clarify your vibration. You cannot raise your vibration because the nature of raising your vibration is there's something wrong with where I am.
Right. That's is that kind of where we have these core limiting beliefs like I'm not enough or the invalidation of hey you're too much or whatever it might be. Is that kind of the thing you're referring to?
We all have limiting beliefs, but again, the problem with limiting beliefs, which became popular in about 2000 as the way out to awakening, you're still in your mind.
Hmm.
You're still in the mental field. Spirituality does not exist here. The mind exists here. In order to get spiritual, you have to embody. You have to come here into your guts. It's so much more important to be who you are, where you are, and how you are than to try to dig around in your subconscious to resolve something. People are futzing with themselves continually, trying to improve themselves to get somewhere.
Hmm.
You can't get there from where you are. You can only do practices and bring yourself in. Now, once with clients, I get them to recognize their center, and then a limiting belief or trauma comes up, very easy to clear,
Hmm.
very easy to find because they percolate out of the body.
Hmm.
You don't go searching. God, the divine, does not make itself hard to find. Why would it?
Hmm.
It wants to be known. Why? Because we want to be known,
Sure.
right? But the thing is, we've been looking in the wrong place. Not here, here, here.
Mm. And that helped the bringing your attention kind of within. That's, yeah, it seems to help that, I find, what you just did.
There's no point in turning yourself. There's lots of practices, and I can send you a free offer for a free gift
Mm,
for your listeners.
thank you.
First step to finding your way.
Okay.
Those people can't figure out what they want to do next, and it will be very helpful if you want.
Yeah.
Um, but the advice I want to give to people, your listeners, are: I get you want to know God. Of course you do. Me too. Me too. And the first step is finding out where you want to go.
Mm,
What do you want from this life? Not marriage, not kids, not success, not a lake house. I get that. And all those things are great. And I wish them for you if that's what you want.
mm,
But who do you want to be in this life?
mm.
That's the first step. Who do you want to be? And then your soul will take that direction and off to the races you go.
Right.
So, who do you want to be?
That's a great question for everybody. Um, I really appreciate you joining me here today and chatting. I know you mentioned that free gift. So how do people, they want to learn more of these tools or book a
Sure.
session with you? How do they connect with you and find you and learn more about you?
My website is colbywilk.com,
Yeah.
COLBYWILK.com. I'm on most of the social media channels.
Hmm.
And I have a newsletter, sign-ups, a huge blog with a lot of the practices like still point and
Mm,
daffodil head and sensors in that we've talked about.
sure.
Yeah, so people are welcome to look me up.
Perfect. Yeah, I'll make sure I link that information in the description below for all the different platforms this will be shared on, make it easier for people to connect with you. Um, I always, at the very end, you don't have to use it, but I kind of just leave a little bit of space. If there's something that I missed or there's a final message you want to share, this would be the moment to do it. If you feel like you've said what you need to say, that's fine as well, but just want to give you
Let
that time and space for it.
me see what wants to be said, if anything.
Sure, sure.
A second. It's so funny. You show me an image of your listeners are so interested in looking in microscopes at
Mm.
what is wrong and trying to figure out why something is happening. If I can figure out why this is happening, why I keep on getting sick, why I keep on losing my job, why I can't maintain a relationship, and we're constantly looking down. And what my beings are talking about is to get a telescope and start looking out into the world, out into the possibilities, and out into the universe.
Mm,
Our worlds become, with worry and doubt and fear, our worlds become very, very small, and we try to figure our way out by
mm,
examining what's wrong with us. Instead, what my beings are recommending, get a telescope and enter into wonder and awe, the mystery of it all,
mm,
that expanded perception, because that will help you.
mm,
I'm all for you and your listeners getting what you want, the house, the girlfriend, whatever it is.
mm,
And I'm interested in you and your listeners becoming who you want to be.
mm.
Inner freedom over outer freedom every time. There is a relationship for sure, but inner freedom, that gives birth to outer freedom.
I agree with that for sure. That's perfect. I think it's a great spot to end this. Again, I appreciate you coming on the show and sharing your energy and your time, your experiences and wisdom with us. So I really appreciate you coming on.
My pleasure. It was wonderful hanging out with you.
Definitely. Awesome. Well, everyone, thank you for tuning to another episode. We'll see you next time. Take care.